Here's what nobody's telling you about getting your first AI client. Most guys think they need a perfect plan before they start. They need to learn every piece of software. They need to figure out the perfect niche. They need a website. They need a portfolio. They need case studies. They need everything lined up perfectly before they make a single move. And then 6 months later, they're still in research mode, still watching YouTube videos, still zero client, still working the same job they hated when they started. That's the trap, and I'm going to walk you through exactly how to avoid it today. I'm going to show you the exact path I took, the same path my students are taking right now, from literally zero with no experience, no background, and no money to your first paid client in 60 to 90 days. If you're sitting there right now and you've been wanting to start an AI agency or an AI service business and you don't know where to begin, this is the video. Real quick, if you're new here, I'm Owen, I'm 24, I live in San Diego, California. I run an AI automation agency as well as a program called the Agent Cartel, where I teach other guys how to build profitable AI agencies. I've been doing this a couple of years now. I've helped over hundreds of guys land their first clients, most of them with no tech background, no degree, nothing fancy at all. Just regular dudes who decided to actually do the work. I'm not going to sit here and teach you theory either, okay? I'm going to teach you what actually works because it's what I do every single day, both in my agency and inside the program. So here's how this actually breaks down, all right? It breaks into 4 parts. We have the niche, offer, outreach, and closing. Most people screw up at step 1 and never recover, so we're going to start there. Your niche. I'm going to keep it stupid simple, all right? Forget what the gurus are telling you. Forget about complicated frameworks. Forget about any of the analysis stuff that makes this feel a lot harder than it actually is, all right? There's 3 rules for picking your niche. Number 1, pick an industry where you already have a connection, okay? It doesn't matter how small. You still work in it, right? Your dad owns one. Your buddy runs one. Your uncle is in this trade. Anything like that. It doesn't have to be a deep connection, all right? Just any in. Why? Because credibility is the hardest thing to build from zero. If you can borrow it from a connection you already have, you cut your timeline in half. Rule 2, pick a high margin service business. Think roofing, HVAC, med spas, dental, window cleaning, right? Pest control, gyms, real estate offices, solar, landscaping. These are the businesses making real money, right? Where one new customer is worth a lot to them. A roofing company gets one new roof job, that's an extra $15,000. They will happily pay you $3,000 to get them more of those. Avoid low margin businesses for client 1, like restaurants, coffee shops, mom and pop retail shops, right? They can't afford you and you'll spend forever trying to convince them that they need it. Rule 3, pick businesses that survive on phone calls and leads. Why? Because that's where AI has the biggest impact right now, all right? So AI voice agents, they're literally one of the fastest growing automation categories right now because they replace expensive human labor directly. Phone calls being missed, leads not getting followed up on, booking calendars sitting half empty. That is your area. Every high margin service business in America is losing money the same way. The phone rings, nobody picks up, right? That lead is gone forever now. Or someone calls in, they get routed to a voicemail, right? And then it goes to the next competitor on Google. You fixed that one problem with AI, and now you made yourself worth thousands of dollars a month to that business. For me, it was window cleaning. Why? Because I had just built a window cleaning business the year before. I knew every pain point. I knew the language. I knew exactly what they were losing money on. I knew what a slow week felt like. I knew what a missed lead actually cost. I wasn't selling to strangers. I was solving a problem that I personally lived through for 18 months. Your in is where you already have credibility, so use it. Don't try to be original. Try to be effective. Now your offer. This is where most guys go off the rails. They want to build the coolest thing, the most complex automation, the agent that does 14 different things, right? The system that integrates with 12 different tools. You don't need any of that for client 1. You need one agent, right? One system that solves one painful problem for one specific type of business. That is it. Think about it like this. A client does not care how impressive your system is, okay? They care about one thing. Does this make me more money or save me time? That is the entire equation. So your job is to build the simplest possible thing that does one of those 2 things. For me, it was lead qualification and calendar booking for window cleaning companies. That's all I built for my first client. The prospect comes in through a Facebook or Google ad. They click it. They land in a chat that qualifies them, asking them what kind of service do they want, how big is the property, what's the budget, where are they located. Then it books them straight onto the calendar with all of that info attached. That's it. That's the entire build. And it still took me about a week. They paid me $2,000 for the build, plus $500 a month to maintain it and tweak it as we went. Now here's what's wild. The AI automation pricing in 2026 actually went up since I started. The average build right now for a workflow automation lands between $2,500 and $15,000. Monthly retainers land between $500 and $5,000 per month. Some agencies are charging way more than that. So when you land your first client at $2,000 or $3,000 for the build, plus $500 or $1,000 monthly, you're not lowballing. You are hitting the market average. With one client at $3K up front and $500 a month after that, that's already $15,000 in your first year from one deal. Two of those clients and you're at $30,000 a year doing maybe 8 hours of work a week, and that is just to start. Your second and third clients, you're charging more. But it all starts with one, all right? One client, one offer, one painful problem solved. Don't get fancy. Don't try to build a full agentic system for your first client. You're going to scare them off, oversell, and probably miss your delivery deadline. You want to keep it simple, keep it specific, and solve one painful problem clean. Now the outreach grind. This is where 90% of people quit, so I want you to hear this part clearly. All right, I cold called business owners for 4 months straight before I closed a single deal. 4 months, $0. I was calling between 150 to 300 businesses per day with thousands of objections per week, hang-ups, voicemails, people telling me to never call them again, people asking me what the hell is an AI agency, right? People laughing at me on the phone. I sat in my room every single day for 4 months grinding through this, okay? Friends were going out. Family didn't get what I was doing at all. I was making $0. Spending my window cleaning savings to stay afloat, and every single day I went back to the phone, and the only reason I didn't quit is because I had no choice. I was already in too deep to back out. The alternative was going back to scrubbing windows in 100-degree heat for the rest of my life. Now here's what I tell my students today. You don't have to cold call. There are other ways to do this, right? But you do have to pick one method and absolutely commit to it for at least 90 days before you judge whether it's working or not. Okay, cold calls work, cold emails work, DMs on Instagram work, LinkedIn outreach works, walking into businesses in person works, even just leveraging your existing network works, right? Asking everyone you know if they know a business owner who would want this. The message doesn't matter. The volume does. You need to do a minimum of 30 to 50 outreaches per day, every day for at least 60 to 90 days before you start judging if it's working, and that is being conservative. Most guys do 5 a day for 2 weeks and quit because outreach doesn't work for me, right? That's not outreach not working. That's you not doing outreach and you not working. The math on this is brutal, but it's real. If you're sending 30 cold messages a day, you're probably going to get 1 to 2 replies. And of those replies, maybe 1 in 5 leads to a call. Of those calls, maybe 1 in 5 closes. So you're closing roughly 1 client per 750 messages. That sounds rough. But 30 messages a day for 90 days is 2,700 messages. That is 3 or 4 closed clients minimum in 90 days if you're doing it right. And each of those clients should be around $2,500 up front to $1,000 or $1,500 per month after that. That's $15,000 to $30,000 in your first 90 days doing nothing more than committing to outreach you can do from your bed with a laptop. But most people will never do this. They'll send 5 messages, they'll get rejected, and then they'll decide outreach doesn't work for me, right? The ones who do the volume are the ones who win. That is the entire game. Now the close. This is the part that's going to scare you, and it shouldn't. But when you finally get someone on the call who's interested, it might, right? You're going to want to oversell. You're going to want to promise them the moon. You're going to want to act like you've been doing this for 10 years. Don't do that, all right? The framing that actually closes deals is the opposite. You ask them about their business. You find out where they are losing money, where they are losing leads, where their phone is going unanswered, right? Where they're wasting time on manual tasks that they hate. You shut up and you let them talk, all right? Most business owners will tell you exactly what their problem is within their first 10 minutes if you just ask the right questions. Questions like, how many leads do you get per week? How fast do you respond to them? How many do you close? What is a customer worth to you over the lifetime of a relationship, right? What's the biggest bottleneck in your operation right now? If you could wave a magic wand and fix one thing about your business, what would it be? Let them talk, right? And then take notes. Find the pain points. Find the problems. And you say something like, look, I build AI systems that handle exactly that. The window cleaning guy, we talked for probably 25 minutes. He told me he was losing leads because his receptionist could not keep up with calls during the busy season. I told him I'd build him a lead qualification and booking system that would handle 100% of the front end so that your team only gets booked appointments. You don't have to know everything before you start. You just need a real problem and someone willing to pay you to solve it. Then you grind out the build and figure out what you don't know. The ones who make it sell first and build second. The ones who don't sit around trying to perfect their skills for a year before they ever talk to a real business. And look, I know what some of you are thinking right now, right? You're thinking, yeah, Owen, but what about the actual building? Okay, what software do I use? What if I can't build it? What if I screw it up? What if the client wants something that I can't deliver? And those are real concerns, but there's step 2 concerns. All right, step 1 is landing the client. The building part you can learn. There's free tutorials everywhere. There's communities. There's tools that make it way easier than it sounds, right? N8N, Go High Level, Retail, Vappy, Claude. There are realistically 5 or 6 core tools that handle 95% of what you will build in your first 6 months as an agency. And you can learn each one of them in a weekend. I learned them all in real time. My first client paid me before I knew how to build even half of what I sold them, right? But I spent the next 7 days locked in figuring it out. And by the time I delivered it, I knew way more than I did before I started. That's how skills actually develop. You take a real job, you have a real deadline, you have a real client expecting a real result, and you figure it out because you have to. What you can't learn from a YouTube video is the willingness to make the outreach, the willingness to send the proposal, the willingness to quote a number to someone's face and hold the silence afterwards. This is the part nobody teaches because nobody can teach it. You either do it or you don't. Let me walk you through what an actual first 90 days looks like. Okay, week 1 through 4, you're going to pick your niche. You want to build a basic outreach list of 500 to a few thousand businesses in that niche. Then you write 3 to 5 outreach message templates, right? You start sending them. I would say 30 a day, that's conservative, okay? You're not getting clients yet, though. You're just putting in reps, reading the replies, and adjusting, all right? Week 5 through 8, by now you should have had some calls, some bad ones, some good ones, some that closed, but you're starting to understand the language of your niche, right? What problems they actually complain about, what they care about, what gets them excited. You're tightening your offer based on what you're hearing, okay? Week 9 through 12, somewhere in here you close as your first client, guaranteed. Could be earlier if you're really grinding. It could be later if your outreach sucks and you're not doing it, right? But if you're putting in the volume, you will close by week 9, guaranteed. Week 13, you should be building, delivering, getting paid. And then your second client comes faster because now you have a testimonial, right? Your third comes faster than that. And then by month 6, you should have 3 to 5 clients on retainer and you're at $15,000 to $30,000 per month. That is the realistic path, not the hypey guru path. The actual path most of my students actually walk, right? The ones that hit those numbers all do the same thing. They follow 4 steps. They don't skip outreach. They don't get stuck in software learning. They don't try to build the perfect thing for client 1. And here's the hard truth. You don't have time to spend another year deciding if this is for you. Every single day you spend in research mode, every single day you spend watching content about AI agencies instead of actually doing the outreach is a day that someone else moved. Okay, I see new agencies pop up every single week. Most of them won't make it. But the ones who actually do the work are locking in clients right now while everyone else is still watching videos. The market for this is wide open and the demand is bigger than the supply. AI automation builds are going for $2,500 to $15,000 right now. Retainers from $500 to $5,000 a month. Like I said, the money is real and the businesses are paying, but the window is not going to stay this open forever. Every month, more guys figure out how to do this. I teach them, right? And the barrier gets higher, the competition gets thicker, but right now, it is still easy to do this, okay? 6 months, who knows? A year from now, it's going to be harder for sure. You can either spend the next 90 days getting your first client, or you can spend the next 90 days thinking about it. Both are choices, but only one of them ends with you having a client, right? If any of this hits and you want the actual full breakdown, I made a full free training that walks through exactly how I built my agency from scratch. The exact tools, the exact outreach scripts, the exact way my students are landing clients right now in 2026. The link's in the description. No fluff, no pitch, just the actual playbook, right? If you're someone who watches this and bookmarks it and never moves, that's on you. That's a choice you made. But if you're somebody who's been waiting for an actual path forward, this is it. Today is day 1, right? Stop waiting for the perfect time. The perfect time is whenever you decide to start. Like and subscribe if this hit for you. Drop a comment and let me know what niche you're going after. I read every single one, right? And I'll tell you if I think it's a good move, but I'll see you guys in the next one.